Hi everyone, I'm Mrs. Struble, and in this video, we're going to practice using a problem-solving plan I like to call UPSC. So let's get started. UPSC stands for understanding the problem, planning a way to solve it, following through with that plan and solving it, and then finally checking to make sure our answer makes sense. So let's walk through this technique using the shown problem to the side here. You run in a city. Short blocks are north-south and are a tenth of a mile long each. Long blocks are east to west and are 15/100ths of a mile each. You will run 2 long blocks east, some number of short blocks south, 2 long blocks west, and then back to your starting point. You want to run 2 miles at a rate of 7 miles per hour. So that's the speed you want to go. How many short blocks do you need to run in order to accomplish this? We have to learn to understand that problem. So first of all, what do we know? We know that the length of each size of block. That's one thing we know. We also know the number of long blocks we're going to run. And we know the total distance we want to run. Then we got to find out, what do we want to know? And what do we want to know is how many short blocks do we need to run in order to run a total of 2 miles. And remember that we are going to run a total of 4 long blocks within those 2 miles also. Now we can start to plan our solution to this problem. So when I see that our total goal is 2 miles, a couple things come to mind. I know I'm talking about a city, I know I'm talking about blocks. So why not draw a sort of a number line? Yeah, we're going northeast, southwest, we're going all different directions, but in the end, we're going to have a 2-mile long stretch. So 2 miles is going to be our ultimate goal here. That's our total. We know we have a total of 4 long blocks, 2 here and 2 here. And each long block consists of 15/100ths of a mile. So we're going to do 15/100ths of a mile 4 times. So we're going to essentially times that by 4. What else we have to have in order to achieve our 2 miles is a certain number of shorter blocks, knowing that each short block is a tenth of a mile. And what we don't know is how many short blocks, so let's just do S for short, we're going to have. So this missing portion of our little timeline here represents how many short blocks. Our 2 miles, therefore our total distance is going to be equal to 4 of our long blocks plus some number of short blocks. And we know also that total distance, so we could put a 2 instead. And now we have a plan to solve, or a plan to solve this problem. We have an equation. Now we follow through with this equation to figure out how many short blocks we have to run to get to 2 miles. So after solving this, we find S is equal to 14. Last thing we need to do is check. Does 14 make sense? So going back up to our little drawing here, let's see if 14 works. We have 4 long blocks, which give us a total of 6/10ths of a mile, which means that our small blocks, however many we're running, they need to add up to a total of 1.4/10ths of a mile. So the question becomes, does 1/10 times 14 equal 4 1/10? And yes, it does. So it makes sense. Now we are going to do a couple more problems using UPSC. However, first, I want to display a whole bunch of different conversions and formulas that we're going to be needing in order to solve basic math problems. I know this looks overwhelming, but I'm sure that you've already grown accustomed to many of these. For example, most of us know that there are 60 seconds in a minute, okay? And again, most of us already know that there are 12 inches in a foot. Those are just a couple examples. But this is just a basic formula review slide. So I encourage you to kind of pause this video, go over these, maybe write a couple of them down if you're not familiar with them, so that in the future you have them. Okay, let's keep going here. The next example, you are making a leather book cover. You need a rectangular piece of leather in order to do this. Our job is to find the cost of the piece of leather if that leather costs 25 cents per square inch. Now, I did not show the picture here, so let me just draw it real quick. So you have your piece of leather, and then you have the book in the middle here. If you've ever covered a book, you have to have that cover larger than the actual book itself so that it'll fold over. In this particular book, we're going to need an 11-inch by 18-inch piece of leather. So what do we know? We know the dimensions of the book cover, and we know the cost of the leather in square inches. What are we trying to figure out? How much will this piece of leather cost us then? So in order to solve this, we're going to have to set up a plan where we figure out how much square inches we need. So how much square inches does this 11 by 18 inch piece give us? We're going to have to know the area of a rectangle. The area of a rectangle is base times height. You may also have learned it length times width. Same thing, just different wording. So we're going to take 18 times 11, and we're going to find that we need 198 square inches of leather. That doesn't answer our question yet. Okay, so after we find the area, now we're going to have to take that and multiply it by the cost. So we're going to have to take the area of the fabric, multiply it by the cost of the leather. And our cost is 25 cents per square inch. So 198 times 25 cents, we get $49.50. Last step is to check to make sure our answer makes sense. In order to check this one, your best option is to round everything. So looking at the rectangle piece that I need, I have 18 by 11. I'm just going to go ahead and round to easy numbers. Quick way to check. Let's make 11, 10, and 18, why not 20? Find the area of a 20 by 10 piece, which is 200. Then we're going to remember that each one of these is a quarter. So times that by a quarter, and we'll get $50. So is our answer close to $50? Yes. So it makes sense. Let's go to number 2. We have a builder that lays sod on the lawns of new homes. Installed cost for sod is 38 cents per square foot. What's the cost of installing sod on a rectangular lawn that is 32 feet by 18 feet? Again, when you can, draw it out. So let's start understanding this. What do we know? Well, we know the lawn's a rectangle. Check. We know that it's 32 feet on one side and 18 feet on the other. Like so. What else do we know? We know that each square foot costs 38 cents. Okay. What are we needing to know? We need to know the cost of installing the sod. So making a plan. Okay, making a plan. How do we find the cost of the sod? The cost of the sod is going to be equal to the area in which we're covering times how much money per square foot that area is. So now we have a plan. Let's fill in the missing blanks and solve it. Area. Our area is a 32 by 18 foot rectangle. So 18 times 32 is what we'll do first. We're going to get an area of 576 square feet. Multiply that by the cost per square foot, which is 38 cents. And we get a total cost of $218.88. That's what we got once we followed through with our plan. So let's check our answer to make sure it makes sense. Once again, I'm going to rely on estimation in order to see if this answer makes sense. I have an 18 by 32. Make those easy numbers to work with. Let's make it 20 and 30. So we have a 20 by 30. That's a 600 square foot rectangle. I'm going to take 600 times 38 cents. And we're going to get approximately $228. Remember, this is an approximation. We rounded to the nearest tenths. So our answer or our estimation would be close by the nearest tenths. So 18 would round to 220 and 228, 220. Yep. Okay. So this one was just a quick video over how we can utilize the UPSC method for solving problems. This is Mrs. Struble with Struble Math. See you next time.